Hey everyone, this is Pete. Welcome back to Atari ST A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari ST games, some which I grew up with and some which are new to me. Today's game is Uninvited. This is not actually one I've got a physical copy of, unfortunately, but it's one that I've been curious to check out for a while because it's not one that I played back in the day, but it is one that I know is rather well regarded, mostly in its NES incarnation in my experience, but yeah, it originated in 1986 as one of the MacVentures series by ICOM Simulations. So it was originally released for Macintosh and then ported to various other computers, including the Atari ST. The Atari ST, of course, was a natural choice to port something that was originally intended for Mac, because in many ways the Atari ST was marketed as an alternative to the Mac in a lot of ways. Its GEM operating system was often compared to the Mac OS, and all sorts of other things like that. So this was the second in the MacVentures series after Deja Vu, and it was the only in the series of 4 adventures to take place in the present day. The other ones were sort of fantasy adventures or took place in the past, or hard-boiled thrillers, that sort of thing. So this one actually takes place in the present, or in 1986 anyway. So MacVenture games, if you're not familiar with them, they were designed as point-and-click adventure games that made use of a desktop style of presentation. So rather than the traditional text adventure interactive fiction style we've seen up until this point, where you type in commands and you get text on the screen responding to what you typed in, here you had a much more graphical setup. So you had a graphical window that you could click on things to select them. You had a series of verbs you could click on at the top of the screen to interact with those various things, and you could see the results of your actions in the graphical window. There was still a significant text element to these games, but yeah, the addition of graphics was a big deal. Not just in a sense that the graphics accompanied the text, as in stuff like the Magnetic Scrolls adventures, like the Pawn and that sort of thing, but the graphics were an integral part of gameplay in this. So, a characteristic feature of MacVentures was that you could interact with objects in various interesting ways. So you could manipulate various objects together, you could put objects inside one another, so it could become quite complex, and you could pick up a lot of things and put them down in other places. And so some people found themselves struggling a bit with, well, where did I put that item, and that sort of thing. So that's a fairly common complaint in this sort of game, particularly if you're coming at it from a modern perspective, but it was all part of the fun. Another thing that's fairly characteristic of the MacVentures is some very well written text. So they're renowned for sort of a very distinctive style of prose that was often quite disparaging towards the player, and so you very much felt like you were sort of competing against the computer when you were playing a MacVenture. So like I say, I've never played Uninvited before, so I'm interested to give this a go. I'm mostly familiar with the NES version, which is quite a bit cut down from the original computer versions due to memory constraints, but it does also have additional features like music and that sort of thing as well, whereas the original has just had a few digitized sound effects here and there. So, without further ado, let's go and play The Uninvited. Okay, here we are with Uninvited. It's just Uninvited, by the way, not The Uninvited, as I realised I said at the end of the intro, but there you go. So this is one of the MacVentures that was ported to Atari ST. In this case, rebranded as an Atari venture, because, well, Atari, no longer Mac. And from this startup screen, you can see pretty much what to expect from this kind of game. You have the game making use of the Atari's GEM interface, or a variation on it, I think, because these windows in particular are a little bit smaller than the standard GEM windows. But you can, for example, just move them around and resize them and maximize them and all that sort of thing. And that was sort of a big and exciting thing with these games. It sort of took full advantage of the operating system and way of presenting just general information on the computer and applying it to a video game. Now, obviously, that's not appropriate for every kind of video game, but for something like a point-and-click adventure like this, it's eminently suitable. So, before we actually crack on with the game, let's just have a quick look through these menus up at the top. So, traditionally, much like how on a Mac you have an Apple menu in the corner that gives you information about the computer and so on, so too in many GEM-based games on the Atari ST, you have this Atari logo, and there's usually an About page in here. So, in this case, we have a bit of information about the game and who made it. So, the Atari ST conversion of this was by Todd Squires, with artwork by David Marsh. So presumably the artwork was redrawn for this, because the original Mac version I think was only in monochrome, so it was black and white art, whereas this has full colour art running in the ST's low resolution mode. So it's 320 by 200 by 16 colours as opposed to whatever the Mac's high resolution mode was. I think 640 by 480, but don't quote me on that. That's what the ST's high resolution mode is anyway, I think. Oh, 640 by 400 possibly. Something like that anyway. Pitiful by modern standards. Okay, so in the original MacVentures, presumably the people who made the original game, Darren Adler, Terry Schulenberg, Craig Erickson, Todd Squire, Steve Hayes, Mark Waterman, Waldemar Horwath, Billy Wolfe, David Marsh again, and Jay Zipnick. I don't recognise any of those names offhand, so I'm not sure if any of them went on to do anything else. Quite possibly, highly likely, in fact. But they're not sort of... I don't think any of them are sort of renowned as a modern auteur of gaming or anything like that. Then in the file menu, we've got New, Open, Save, and Save As. So one of the interesting things about the MacVentures and their various ports was that they sort of adopted the conventions of productivity software with regards to loading and saving games. In that, as you were playing, if you wanted to save a game, you just saved it like a document on your on the disk you were playing on, or on a save game disk, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it, really. But yeah, that was quite unusual. So it didn't use any sort of particularly fancy proprietary save game systems or anything like that. Obviously, the files were proprietary, so you could only open those files in the appropriate game. But yeah, the way you open them and save them is very similar to what you'd do in something like First Word Plus at the time, or something like you still do in Microsoft Office these days. And then in this special menu, we have Clean Up and Mess Up, which once you've fiddled around with the interface a bit, you can use those two options to sort of clean up to sort of a... I think it just puts it back to the default layout, and then Mess Up puts it back to whatever you did before. I think that's how it works anyway, but I tend not to fiddle around with the interface too much because the default layout is makes a lot of sense. Alright, let's begin. Good afternoon. You have been summoned as the Uninvited. Look out! The last thing that you remember before the darkness rushed up to claim you is your brother's startled cry. You managed to swerve around the shadowy figure that appeared in the roadway, but lost control as the car jumped the shoulder and plunged headlong into this tree. Swiveling your battered head, you survey the wreckage. You realise that you are alone. Your kid brother must have gone off to get you some help. As you pry yourself free of the steering wheel's embrace, you can't help but notice the pungent odour of gasoline as it leaks from the ruptured gas tank. Good. Really makes you appreciate how much effort localizers put in these days at trying to make sure that everything fits in text boxes, doesn't it? Okay, so from here we are interactive. So the way this game works is you can click on something, which will cause it to invert colours like that and show that you've selected it. And then you can click on one of the verbs at the top of the screen to do something with it. So, for example, because the car is about to explode, I know this already because I tried this quickly earlier on and almost immediately died. Because the car is about to explode, what we want to do straight away is select the door and open it. The car door opens with some effort. The accident has caused some damage to the door. If you're wondering about the weird graphical glitches, by the way, as always on this series, what I'm doing to record footage is I'm using an emulator, and I'm using one of Automation's sort of multi-load discs on the Atari ST, which means that all the games on the disc are compressed, which means you can fit a lot more on one floppy disk. But it also means that the games have to decompress while you're playing, and that causes that weird graphical glitch anytime something loads from the disc. So if you're wondering about that, that's what causes that. So I can't do anything about that, so sorry. Right, the car door opens with some effort. The accident has caused some damage to the door. So what we need to do then is we click on exits. I think we can just click on the door as well, and we say go. Boom! A digitized boom at that. There is a mighty explosion behind you as your car bursts into flames. That will at least save you the cost of a tow. Better try to find your younger brother and have him call a cab instead of a tow truck. You stand at the front porch of a house. This old Gothic mansion casts gloomy shadows all around you. A sharp wind cuts through your flesh to chill your bones. The pounding thunder grows louder and more threatening. Okay, so hopefully we're out of immediate danger now, so we can take a bit of time to have a quick look around. So there's a mailbox here. If we examine that. The mailbox is the type that you would expect to see outside of a farm or secluded rural residence. Alright then, let's open it. The mailbox is now open. So, here is one of the distinctive things about the MacVentures series, is the fact that objects can contain other objects. So here we've got a window showing us what is inside the mailbox. So we can then select that letter, and we can presumably examine it. It's an envelope. It is addressed to Master Crowley, 666 Blackwell Road, Loch Ness, Scotland. Little bit of trivia. It doesn't really affect what we're doing here, but in the NES version, it's just addressed to Master Crowley. It doesn't give an address, because Nintendo didn't like 666 because it might have people getting into Satanism or something like that. Also, they didn't have very much memory on the NES, so they had to cut down on text wherever they could. So, can we just open that in there? We can. The envelope is now open. So inside the envelope we've got this pendant looking thing. It's a heavy chain necklace with a gaudy gold amulet attached. It looks very old and handmade. Well, I think we should probably take that. So can we just drag that? Is that how that works? Yes. So we just drag that into our inventory. So, also, for those interested, I discovered, much to my delight, that Steam, the ST emulator I'm using for recording all this footage, does have a mouse sensitivity option. So I'm no longer sort of moving my mouse a picometer across the table and having it fly right across the screen. So it's now much closer to how the actual ST handles, which is very nice. Okay, here's a letter. So let's read this letter. Should have probably done this before I picked up the ominous pendant. This note reads, Dear Master, please forgive me. My health prevents me from aiding you in your battle against the evil one. You teach your students well. They become too powerful for their own good. Enclosed is an amulet that should look familiar. Wear this charm and think of me. The undead fear symbology. Still the evil. Set it free for the sake of family. Alright, so can we then wear the amulet? How does that work? There isn't a wear button, so can we just drag that onto self? Try putting the amulet into your inventory. It's already in my inventory. So are we just wearing it then, I guess? You look as uncomfortable as you feel. Okay, so double clicking on an item examines it, so that's a nice shortcut that you can use. Let's take that letter with us just in case it's useful for something. And then we can close that window. The envelope is now closed. And the mailbox is now closed. Oh, that's clever. So you close the window and it actually closes the object in the environment as well. That's quite neat. Okay, so what else have we got going on here? We've got these statues. A marble life-size likeness of young Greek manhood adorns the front of the mansion. The Greek sculpture does not really match the Gothic architecture. The lightning creates a spectacular display as it lashes out against the clouds. The thunder follows so quickly that you feel the storm is a little too close for comfort. I feel like we're probably going to die if we stay out here, aren't we? So I want to examine the other statue, but you know what? I'm going to save. So we save. Let's call this Pete.unv. That's the ST standard file selector if you've never seen that before. Error during write. Try again. Oh, good. Alright, I guess we're not saving our game then. Well then. Presumably we need another disk in the drive, but oh, I don't know. Oh well, let's just roll with it. Okay. Alright, so let's select the door and open the door. The door swings open with a creak. There we go. And then presumably You can click on there. Can we double click to go, or will that just examine? No, double click is go. So that's yeah, so it's vaguely intelligent. That's good. As you enter the mansion, the door slams closed behind you. Welcome home. This entrance hall is a large, extravagant, luxurious room, yet it feels strangely oppressive. Well, that'll be the big pentagram in the middle of the floor. This very large, room-sized carpet displays a pentagram. The 5-pointed star is set against a circular star field. A great bird of prey is pictured swooping down, talons extended upon some undepicted victim. The painting is a striking work in oils on canvas. This painting depicts a mighty python wrapping itself around a rather large egg. The egg seems unfazed and stares intently across the room. This oil is obviously the work of an amateur, without a strong command of chiaroscuro? Don't know what that is. Is that an art word? I don't know. I don't know art. It is a bleak view of a barren landscape under a night sky. It looks like this estate. This couch looks comfortable. It's just long enough for you to lie down and stretch out upon. I think that's probably a bad idea. Several dried logs with some sticks thrown in as kindling rest in the fireplace. We take those? No. Okay. What about this? Is this the thing? It is the bust of a weathered sailor. The 7 seas are etched in his face. It rests heavily on a marble pedestal. Okay. I don't see anything particularly obvious we need to do here at the minute, so let's investigate this door, I guess. The door is now open. This room is devoid of any aesthetic warmth or beauty. It is purely functional, with no concern for the trivialities of interior design. It looks like a still reproduced from F.W. Murnau's film Nosferatu. There seems to be a familiar face in the background. On closer examination, it appears to be Dave Feldman, whose wit and insight was a valuable asset in the creation of Uninvited. Programmer in jokes. Lovely. Look through the window and remind yourself there's a great big wonderful world out there. A wonderful world that we can no longer get to, presumably. What is this? Is this a thing? No, that's just the room. Alright, well, let's check out these doors then. The door is now open. A mysterious woman appears. She is dressed like Scarlett O'Hara, and she stands with her back to you. Oh, you have gotten the attention of the mysterious lady. She turns to face you. Her face is devoid of any flesh. You are frozen with horror. She begins ripping your body into a bloody mess. Well, you have lost. Would you like to play again? Yeah, sure. Alright, so we know all this. Do you want to try and see if we can actually save? So it is save as. Oh, that is there. Can I load that? It did say error during write, but it did actually create the file. So will that open? Let's have a look. Could not load that file. Try again. Okay, no saves for us then. So, obviously we're not going to make it through the whole game at this rate, but I do want to give you a nice general overview of how this all works. And yeah, I've got to confess, I'm actually pretty drawn in by this already. I've spoken to several people about this game before, particularly the NES version, which, as I've mentioned, is quite well known. And this is a pretty scary game for a lot of people. This is one of those games that people remember as being one of the earliest sort of horror gaming experiences that they would have had. And that alone makes it noteworthy. Just the whole sort of different approach to horror that we have in a game like this to what we have in a horror game these days, because a lot of horror games these days tend to be a bit more action oriented. So stuff like Resident Evil 4 has got a lot to answer for example, but yeah, I mean, even more traditional survival horror type games, those have more of an action element than something like this game. Whereas this one is very sort of take your time, cerebral. There are time limits for some things, like the car at the beginning. You can blow yourself up in that if you don't get out quick enough. But yeah, between actually doing things, actually taking an action, you can take as long as you need. So if you just want to think about stuff or look stuff up or check things out or whatever, or discuss it with a friend if you're playing it with someone, yeah, you can really take your time over that. Okay, so let's try going this way instead. The door is now open. No scary faceless ladies this time. This room was designed for deep thought and research. Obviously it was once inhabited by a serious man of letters. The harsh silence in the rest of the house is muted in this room of contemplation. Okay, now there's a scary looking book on the table. What is this? This large ancient tome bears the symbol of the pentagram. This book is very, very, very old. Older than anything you've seen in this mansion, possibly older than the house itself. Okay, well, let's read it. That seems like a good idea, doesn't it, in a game that's likely to kill us? The book is now open. Let's read it and go mad. The book is open to a page which seems to be filled with definitions. Instantum, sudden and momentary, here and gone in an instant. Illuminaris, a bright white light. Projectum, the propulsion of an entity. Spirka, a small flame or spark. Spekan, to talk, talking. Ephod, the head, the skull, etc. Magisterium, mystery. Abraxas, it is a magical word, a vehicle through which magic is directed. Okay, are those spells? Well, that seems like something we should probably take with us. So at this point I can expand my inventory window a bit if I want to. And will you clean up? Oh yeah, there we go. So clean up sort of arranges your inventory neatly. So it's not to do with the windows, it's to do with the items in the windows. So it makes things tidy for you so you can see all of them. It's a map of the heavens, a place you've always wanted to visit. You might get there sooner than you think. It's a bookcase filled with many fine books. You see the works of Bacon, Poe, Lovecraft and Nostradamus. Many of the books seem to be hundreds of years old. Many are in ancient languages and are indecipherable to you. This antique orb, which once spun freely, is now rusted in position. Okay, I don't see anything else that we can do stuff with at the minute, so let's head back this way. Back into the hallway. Let's not open that door this time. So where did we actually come from? Was it this one? Hard to say really. It definitely wasn't sort of behind the camera. Now let's have a look at this one. Oh dear. Run away? Run away through the open door. Oh no, she's killed us again. Alright, Let's have one more try. If we can't figure it out this time, we'll call it a day there. And I will probably play some more of this in my own time, because I'm enjoying this. Alright. Open the door. Go through the door.
Open the mailbox. Open the envelope. Shift that out the way. Take all these goodies. I take that. I don't know if we have to do anything with that to wear it. It seems like that would be something that would sort of help against the creepy old lady, the creepy ghost lady, or the whatever they are. Let's just read that, just in case it's a prerequisite to being able to. Enclosed is an amulet that should look familiar. Wear this charm and think of me. The undead fear symbology. Still the evil. Set it free for the sake of family. Okay, so there's no option to wear it. I wonder if operate it works. As you hear the stray dog barking in the distance, you are reminded that rabies shots are very unpleasant. Alright, time to go inside then. That's interesting, so there's like some random events going on as well. And again, you seem to get a fair amount of warning if something is likely to kill you, so. Okay, so if I click this and then say operate, what does that do? Nothing. Operate that on self. Operating the amulet produced no effect. Can I consume the amulet? The amulet would be hard to swallow. Open the amulet. Amulet cannot be opened. Okay. Well, let's go back in here again. And through the door. And open up the book. And read the book. And take the book. Right, so nothing else to do in here, I don't think. Unless we can do something with the table. No, it doesn't look that way. Okay, so back out this way. Anything interesting we can do with the chairs? It's an early American chair, very old and very valuable. It looks soft and cushiony. That one is the same. Okay. Alright, instead of opening a door this time, let's go up the stairs. The old wooden floorboards creak under your weight. Your creaking footsteps echo throughout the emptiness of the huge house. Alright, so presumably the stairs are behind us at this point, judging by the exit chart. There's something fishy about this trophy. It's a clever joke, do you see, because it's a fish. The mounted fish cannot be opened. Can we operate the mounted fish? Okay, so operate, you have to use something on something else. Operating the mounted fish on the book produced no effect. Funny that. It's like, that's a stupid thing to do. Anyway, hit the mounted fish. Hitting the mounted fish accomplishes nothing, but we did get a sound effect out of it. Alright, open the door. The door is now open, and there's no creepy lady. So let's go in here. This is a good-sized closet with lots of room for bric-a-brac. Loud thunder echoes all around you as the storm outside intensifies. Right, lots of goodies in here. What's this? This box looks like it came from a haberdasher. hat box is now open. You now have to question the reliability of your eyes. You think you see a somewhat cute, abstract creature with a key in its hand prance by. You're not sure whether it's your eyes or your mind playing tricks on you. It could be both. It's a nice hat, but it isn't you. I'm going to take it anyway. Now I have a hat. And what is this? It's an aerosol spray can. The label reads Spider Cider, the arachnid anesthetizer recommended by leading entomologists everywhere. The loneliness of this abandoned mistake. Mistake? A little bit of a slip there. The loneliness of this abandoned estate makes you long for the company of your little brother. You've seen neither hide nor hair of him in quite a while. He should be somewhere on this estate. You'd better find him. Well, the spider be gone seems like something we should probably take with us. What else have we got in here? The bottle's label reads, No ghosts for poltergeist, vampires and other undesirable undead visitors. Yeah, we've got a real undead killing kit in here. The smiling key-bearing creature prances quickly past you again. He grins childishly as if taunting you. He's locked me in here, hasn't he? This tall, thin box looks like it used to house a bottle. Does it still house a bottle? No. There's nothing in the box. What about this thing? It's a box of laundry detergent. The box has a handy resealable spout. Well, you never know when this stuff might be useful. They don't make boxes like these anymore. The Farmington Corrugated Box Company of Claypit, Minnesota went out of business years ago. Anything in this delightful corrugated box? Oh no! The evil air that pervades the estate seems to have infiltrated your very being. Your head and chest feel heavy and thick. You find it increasingly difficult to execute your will. For a minute your thoughts seem influenced by another mind. That seems bad. But we're not dead. That's good. It's a start. What about this? The can of insecticide. You never know when you'll need to kill a bug. Indeed. So, let's take that with us. What about this? Silver bowl has been used by some slob as a spittoon. It smells like old chore. Disgusting. That was definitely not your imagination. This little creature is definitely running circles around you. It disappears as quickly as it appears. It moves too fast for you to react to it. It's a glass ashtray. It definitely did not come from a Holiday Inn. This mop looks like it's been used to swab many a deck, as it were. This broom has swept its fair share of floors. Looks like a convertible for a witch. There are paint stains all over this top. What happens if we move this top? Is there anything beneath it? No. Oh, well. I don't know if these things are useful or not, but we seem to be able to pick up absolutely everything in this game, so, you know. It's, might as well, eh? And what about this bad boy? A single light bulb hangs from the ceiling. A slender chain hangs from the bulb to serve as its on-off switch. Alright, I think we're probably done in that closet for the minute. I don't know what to do with the little thing for now. The old wooden floorboards creak under your weight. Yes, we know. Okay, so let's try the next door along here. The door is now open. The stairwell contains an old rickety spiral staircase that spins up towards the next level. Alright, don't want to go up there just yet. This is the type of axe that broke up several of Henry VIII's marriages. So I'm going to take it, because, you know, who doesn't want an axe? The battle axe won't fit. Try removing something from your inventory. Oh, is that the biggest we can make our inventory? Can you fit it in there if you make the window bigger? No. Okay, so there is like a weight limit or something then, I guess. Or a number of items you can have. So we probably don't need a mop and a broom if we've got a battle axe lying around. So let's just pop that down there. And pop that there as well. With some beautiful use of perspective going on. Drop the old tarp there as well, because we probably don't need that. But the battle axe does seem like something that would probably be quite useful. Okay, so let's go back out this way. And let's try the next door. I wonder if I should be closing these doors. This room looks like your typical 20th century bourgeois bedroom. A place to relax, perhaps? This small bedroom is dominated by a large, luxurious bed, definitely king-sized. This modest black dresser is of painted pine. What is inside the modest black dresser? There's a star. What is this little star? The symbol of the pentagram seems to be the major motif in the ornamentation of this mansion. This 5-pointed iron star fits in the palm of your hand. Does it fit in my inventory? No. Okay. So we do have a hard limit on how many things we can carry at once then. So you can't just pick up everything and hope for the best. So, let's pop the note in there and the hat. And take the star, because that sounds like something that should be useful. Oops, I'm having trouble dragging that. I'm just drawing a box instead of actually dragging it. There we go. Right. So, what else have we got in here? Before there was solid-state technology, there were big radios. There's a circular wool rug covering a large part of this nice hardwood floor. You wonder who picked out these cheery drapes. You wonder if you'll ever get out of this place alive. You wonder whatever happened to the folks who lived here. This top shelf is firmly attached to the wall. This thin plywood plank couldn't support more than 10 pounds. Oh, gotta be real pixel perfect on these, huh? Looks like a plywood shelf. You can never have too much shelf space, I guess. The lightning and thunder bring shivers to your spine. Alright, let's use the axe on the shelf. You should try not to hack up the shelf. Well, you should not try to hack up the shelf. Okay. Hit the shelf. Hitting the shelf accomplishes nothing. Lightning inundates the bedroom, instantly followed by deafening thunder. We take the shelf? Oh, we can. Oh, no, we can't. The shelf cannot be moved. Alright, let's come back here later. What about this way? The door is now open. I see what people mean about the atmosphere of this game. It's very quiet, but there's a really nasty atmosphere about it. I love it. It's great. This leather star-faced book looks old, but its binding is fresh and uncracked, as if it had never been opened. Well, this looks like something that might kill us if we open it, so let's open it. The book is now open. My star is gone, but not lost. Master's servant will pay for his indiscretion. The vehicle of my power has not yet served its purpose. When it sets me free, I will have a chance to realize my unlimited potential. The forces of the technological society will be unprepared for the likes of me. I will not be denied. My omnipotence is inevitable. Wax drippings cling to the side of the candle. Shadows and light. This unsigned painting is an abstract pattern of blacks, whites and greys. It is a large antique closet. It is made of dark oak and is very heavy. Well, let's see what goodies it contains within. Absolutely nothing. Fair enough. This is half of a set of twin beds. The polka dot bedspread almost matches the room's decor. The door is now open. This bathroom is cold and dark. There is no toilet. Whoever lived here really did have a mysterious way of doing things. There's a 20-gallon fish tank. There seem to be tiny gold flecks drifting around the tank. It's a soft and fluffy towel, as if straight from a box of Snowy. This ordinary laundry hamper matches the decor of this room perfectly. And there's something in there. This towel is damp and mouldy. It is stained by what looks like blood. Well, let's just leave that there. Pretend we didn't see that. 7 years has not dulled the beautiful shine on the porcelain tub. 7 years, eh? This floor sanding sink is very shiny. It shows no signs of neglect or disuse. You see yourself in a round frame. The frame looks nice. You, on the other hand, look terrible. This is what I mean about the text in this game, sort of disparaging the player on fairly regular occasions. This solid gold faucet is one expensive plumbing fixture. You wonder if this soap is 99 and 44/100% pure. I guess that's a reference to something. This light fixture seems to have been shaped to be gripped. There is no light switch. This rug is nice and soft. You bet it would feel nice under bare feet. At this point you begin to worry about your little brother. You are supposed to take care of him, but you've not seen him for hours. You pray that no harm has come to him. Yeah, it's just stuff like that that just sort of seemingly randomly crops up. It's sort of your character having thoughts about what's going on. It's just a really nice way of kind of generating paranoia. Right, one of these was for getting rid of ghosts, wasn't it? I wonder if we can use that to get rid of the woman downstairs. This must be the master bedroom. Interesting decor. There's a stale smell about this room as if it hadn't been opened for years. This antique wheelchair is your favourite piece of furniture in the house. Form and function combined to create the mobile seat. This is a photograph of a man in Buffalo Grove. This is a photograph of a man with a woman. The two appear to be brother and sister. This is a photograph of a man in Paris. He has an appearance that makes him look Chinese. He is standing with his arms around a friend. Both men are wearing long robes. This is a photograph of a man. His eyes appear sunken and his face is very drawn. This is a photograph of a man in Rome. This is a photograph of a man whose long hair falls past his shoulders from over his forehead. It looks like another book there. It seems to be some sort of lab journal. The book is now open. And the lightning is going off again. You hear the pounding thunder from the storm outside. It sounds like... What? Okay. That's not weird. It's fine. Everything's fine. This diary reads, I've lost control of Drakan. My star student now fancies himself a master. Though his power is strong, his spirit is weak. He is easily corrupted by the dark spirits of greed and power. My servant, more aware than I, sealed his star in my hingeless box. They're locked away beyond his stair. I've hidden the key. A chair knows where. The cabinet won't open. It is locked. Okay, so the wheelchair seems unaffected. Thunder from the storm outside crescendos, then dies out again. Alright, what's through here? Whoever decorated this room certainly had eclectic tastes. The decor of this room could be described as African Art Deco. This little Indian man looks like some kind of voodoo doll. Wood, cloth and small bits of silver leaf combined to create this anthropomorphic miniature. This is an ancient African ceremonial mask. Its ugly face was not meant to frighten humans. It was meant to scare off ill-willed spirits. The face of this clay mask has extremely large ears. This Mayan mask has a cold, hard stare. You let out a silent, startled scream at the sight of your own reflection. You can't remember ever looking so awful. Better be careful, you wouldn't want to be caught dead looking like this. Yes, yes, very good. It's a small bottle with a yellowish liquid inside. This relatively plain vial contains a red liquid. It's a small perfume-sized bottle that contains a dark yellowish liquid. Mounted on the thick marble basin are gold plumbing fixtures. These seem to be among the newer items in the house. It's a fluffy... Oh, no! Again, the evil that dwells within the estate vies for control of your spirit. Its influence grows more and more powerful. Soon you will not have the strength of mind to fight it off. You can feel that the spirits collected here are anxiously anticipating your induction. I'm scared. Well, let's go and see if we can polterbig on the lady downstairs. Let's open a door we haven't opened before first. No, she does appear. Whichever door you open. The lightning and thunder brings shivers to your spine. Alright, what happens if we try and use this? Oh no! You've gotten the attention of the mysterious lady. She turns to face you. Her face is devoid of any flesh. You are frozen with horror. She begins ripping your body into a bloody mess. Well, that's that then. We learned some interesting things though. And yeah, that's about it for today in that case. So, that is Uninvited, one of the MacVentures, ported to Atari ST. And yeah, I'm really interested in playing some more of that, so I'm going to do some of that in my own time, I think. So, for now though, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. New episodes of Atari A to Z are on Tuesdays and Atari ST A to Z on Thursdays. Check out atariatoz.wordpress.com for a full archive. Do please also check out my other projects moegamer.net, where I explore Japanese and Japanese-inspired games from yesterday and today, and videopackgames.wordpress.com, which aims to catalogue a small but well-formed library of the Philips G7000 Videopack computer, also known as the Magnavox Odyssey 2. You can also support my work on Patreon or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.